Hello indie game fans, December is usually a quieter month of new releases for good reason, since everyone gets caught up in Game of the Year as well as the holidays, but a few brave developers have decided to try their luck with a number of good looking games that I'm looking forward to. Let's begin with Firegirl Hack and Splash Rescue, a roguelite platformer where you play as a firefighter responding to emergencies, armed with your trusty fire axe and water cannon jetpack. I do think that the idea of firefighters in games is fascinating, since the enemy in this case is the fires, where the objective is not to extinguish all fires but to rescue trapped civilians. There have been a number of such titles including Nuclear Blaze and Flame Over, where this game looks to join those ranks and looks great, even having a meta progression element of upgrading the fire station, looking like it could be pretty good. The next entry is quite a departure from this developer's usual work, since Wytchwood is a crafting adventure game where you play as the old witch of the woods, collecting ingredients, brewing potions, casting spells, and ultimately passing judgment on a cast of characters. As such, I do think that there's something interesting in this game, depending on how you decide the fates of the various characters, teaching them the moral of the story, so to speak, which is a different kind of adventure game and has a fantastic storybook art style as well. This comes to us from developer Alien Trap, who are best known for the action platformer with Greek pottery aesthetic, Apotheon, so I'm curious as to what they come up with in this game. It's no secret that I love my pixel art, so of course, Archvale makes the cut. One that isn't tremendously detailed in the traditional sense, but the pixel art is clean and it works really well. While it looks like a top-down action roguelite, it self-describes as an RPG bullet hell, so think Diablo crossed with Enter the Gungeon and you get the idea. We are searching for the fabled Arch to Archvale in order to eliminate a source of great evil in the land, where the variety of characters, skills and equipment looks to be excellent and is a no-brainer. The thing that stood out to me about Trash Sailors is of course the art style, being excellent hand-drawn art that looks like some sort of children's book or even Don't Starve to some extent, where this is a co-op simulator for up to 4 players as you travel on a ship made of trash. It will not be an easy journey since there are a variety of sea creatures in the way, from sharks and crocodiles to perhaps more mythical ones as well. Trash is central to all of this, since it is used for fuel, to upgrade your raft, and even as weapons, where the chaos of 4 players does look primed to make memorable experiences with your friends. But I am curious about the game's structure, if it is run-based, whether anything carries over, and how much variety there is. Somehow, developer Image and Form and their parent company, the Thunderful Group, keeps popping up in my recent videos, where they are best known for being the SteamWorld people, but their next game is quite the departure in the Gunk. This is a third-person action-adventure title where you're journeying across the planet and using your vacuum pack to suck up gunk, restoring the environment, but do have to fight off corrupted creatures as well. It does look beautiful, where apparently, being the first 3D game from the studio, they sought out the help of Microsoft and the power of the Xbox, which makes it quite the curiosity since it will be releasing on PC through Game Pass but will not be on Steam or Epic, so do take note if you're intending to play there.
In a future of endless, futile war, desertion into hostile syndicate territory was your only option. In this open-world RPG, from the jungle to the streets, maybe if you can infiltrate the factions, rob the syndicates, keep your team together, and stay alive, you might just find a way off this planet.
Some of you may be familiar with Mechajammer if you have been watching this channel, since it appeared a number of times in my recent videos previewing tactics titles, and in somewhat of a surprise announcement, was confirmed to be releasing next month. The self-described cyberpunk tactics RPG set in a grindhouse jungle colony has a fantastic look where I'm interested in the mechanics myself. I don't normally give delayed games second chances on videos like this since I did already show them off and the delay is not my fault, but Solar Ash deserves a special mention since it is from one of the most beloved indie developers, Heart Machine, makers of Hyperlight Drifter, who have since scaled up and are being published by Annapurna, which makes them not so indie. However, the beautiful world looks like a pleasure to explore, with the 3D platforming and movement where our heroine effortlessly skates across the world looks awesome as she seeks a way to prevent the imminent threat of a massive black hole known as the Ultra Void. This has been in development for quite a while and I'm curious about this, meaning that it gets a spot on the list. I did recently come to the realization that developer Shiro Games, makers of some of my favourites like Evoland and Northgard, are actually not a small studio by any means, having 48 members on staff according to their website, and are thus not so indie, but I do love their titles and have to give War Tales a special mention. This is an open-world CRPG set in a medieval world where you lead a band of mercenaries as they travel across the world seeking their fortunes. Combat zooms into an almost turn-based tactics-like grid interface and could be interesting, where this game did impress in demos so far, which makes me excited about this. I've been keeping an eye on developer Autoemon Studios and their game Wolfstride long before it was named Wolfstride, so I'm happy to see that this is finally being released. You play as a trio of troublemakers trying to make it big by winning a giant mecha battling tournament, having to do odd jobs to pay for repairs and upgrades as they try to live the dream. It uses both gorgeous hand-drawn art in combat with the mecha designs, as well as simple-looking pixel art in exploration, both having their charms and looks like another great turn-based RPG to look forward to. And of course, me being me, the Metroidvania entry, Eterna Noctis is a game that I'm very excited about since I do love this genre and it's a gorgeous looking game not to be missed. You play as the King of Darkness, being locked in eternal conflict with the Queen of Light, where our story begins just as he was last defeated, having to regroup and regain his strength by fighting through 16 areas. This, conveniently, fits in with the Metroidvania structure, as our protagonist gets new powers and upgrades after each area, but the platforming and combat does look pretty awesome. My only issue with this game is that it is releasing in December, which means that more than likely, it will get lost in all of the Game of the Year discussion and the general busyness of award season. I did bring this up to the developer when they reached out, but the team seemed to be set on the date, so all I can say is Godspeed and good luck taking the #1 spot. For more Metroidvania games, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.